Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I am Tina Jha, you're watching Perspective. On the show today, we turn our focus to the battle for Bihar, which is now in its final countdown. After weeks of high-decibel campaigning, big promises and record voter participation, the stage is now set for the big verdict. Friday, the 14th of November is when the people's voice and choice will decide the winner and pave the way for Bihar's next government. As the state awaits the results of the assembly elections, exit polls have handed over a decisive edge to the ruling NDA. Most pollsters project a comfortable majority for the NDA, estimating between 121 to 209 seats. The Mahagathbandhan is expected to secure somewhere between 90 to 105 seats, while the new entrant, the Jan Suraaj Party, may find it difficult to make a breakthrough as per the exit polls. This election has also seen a historic voter turnout. According to the Election Commission of India, Bihar recorded 66.91%, which is the highest in the state's electoral history since 1951. What's even more remarkable, women have outnumbered men by nearly 10 percentage points, with 71.6% of female voters turning up at polling stations compared to 62.8% men. So what impact will these numbers have on the final outcome? Will the ruling coalition retain its hold, or can the opposition script a surprise comeback? Also, what role will women, first-time voters and rural Bihar play in shaping the state's political future? Over the next 30 minutes, we'll bring you expert insights and in-depth analysis on the eve of the counting day. Let me begin by introducing the guest to you. With me in the studio is Mr. Ajay Kumar Singh. He's a senior journalist. Thank you, sir, for joining us on the program. Welcome to Sansad TV. Joining us virtually is Dr. Sunil Kumar Chaudhary, Professor of Political Science, University of Delhi. Professor, always a pleasure to have you join us on the program. Mr. Singh, allow me to begin the program today with you. I came across a very interesting article that you've penned down about the Bihar elections, and in which you've described Bihar's electoral politics as one that constantly enriches the political lexicon. From the 2005 elections, which you've described as the coalition of extremes, to the 2010 polls that you refer to as the Rainbow Coalition. So to begin with, I would urge you to help us and our viewers understand what does your description of the two elections that handed over major victories to Nitish Kumar imply, and in that context, what kind of social alignment do you think the 2025 results could have?
2005 elections was held in a context when, if you could recall, just before that election, there was a period when there was a hung assembly. So then president rule was imposed, and Nitish was not allowed to form the government. Nitish was, as I know it, because I was then on the field. So Nitish was about to stake his claim to form the government, but he was not allowed to do it. So there was a kind of sympathy wave. Right. So that was the context in which it is said, it has been coined by Shahbal, who was a social scientist. He said that it's a coalition of extreme. Coalition of extreme means having this upper caste and MBC scheduled caste. They got together to make the victory easy for BJP JDU alliance. So that was the context in which I refer to coalition of extremes. Yes. Then 2010 was a different case because in 2010 Nitish and BJP combination, they won by 3/4 majority. So in that context, what had happened that even some social segments of Yadavas, they also voted for JDU and BJP. So RJD was practically decimated. Then happened 2015, and 2015 was absolutely in a different context in which Nitish ji opposed Modi's emergence, if you could recall, and then he parted company with BJP. Then he aligned with RJD, and then what happened that it was a coalition of a different kind. It was a backward coalition, MY factor, along with all other extremely backward castes. So, Bihar has been experimenting this kind of social alignments all through these elections. 2020, when it happened, it was again BJP, but there was a wildcard entry of some other parties, some smaller parties like Paswan's party. So, all those things have upset the calculation of even very expert pollsters at times. So, when I see the exit polls and everything, so Bihar has the tendency of not following the set pattern.
Right.
So, I won't be surprised if poll results are entirely different. Although, I mean, if you see the exit polls and exit polls results, so there is a consensus that NDA has an edge over others. So, I would go by that, because I have not been on the field, but what I have heard also that NDA has certain edge over others.
But also, what makes this election remarkable and something that's sparked a lot of conversation, not just in the media but among all stakeholders, is the historic voter turnout. Professor Chaudhary, it's the highest since independence. So, of course, we are seeing that almost all stakeholders are vying to take credit for the high numbers of voters that turned out at the polling stations. As an analyst, how do you interpret this kind of surge in participation, first to begin with? But the second thing that perhaps a common person would like to understand from you, leaving aside the political talks that are going on, could this huge participation be a sign of greater political awareness, which is enabled in today's age by technology, also the wide media outreach? Or could it also be a remarkable indicator of the improved electoral management? How would you interpret it?
I think there are many factors which can be cited over here, but let me just begin with what Daniel Lerner, one Western psephologist and social scientist, used to say about Indian electoral system and about the electoral voting process. He used to say that the literacy and technology are the two important components which drive electors to the voting system. And India, 50s and 60s, he stated that didn't find fit in terms of strong democratic process because India was lacking both literacy and technology in terms of urbanization and modernization. And I think over the years, one could say, and focusing more on Bihar, I mean, these predictions have actually been defied by Indian electors and mostly by Bihar voters. When I say this, because this literacy dilemma or this urban-rural paradigm in which the voters are being placed, I think Bihar makes it very clear that literacy, education, technology, rural-urban paradigm, they do not matter much because Bihar voters are really very different voters, very vocal voters, very smart voters, more awakened voters. And one could see the voting percentage, one could see that for past 3 elections, that Bihar voters have voted with great enthusiasm, with larger participation, showing that this political awareness among the voters of Bihar are different from the political awareness among other voters in other states. When I say this, the 2025 assembly elections in Bihar say 66.9% of voters, and the most important part is that women voters. I feel that women voters in Bihar, more precisely because women voters are seen in the preceding some elections, are the silent voters. When I say they are the silent voters, because their voice is more decisive without being expressive. One could see the preceding elections in West Bengal, Assam, even Uttar Pradesh, where women actually came out in good numbers in terms of their participation, and the results were actually very, very decisive. Nobody had imagined that the women voters would be taking side of it. But finally, I would say that in case of Bihar, women voters with more than 70% of their participation, they appear to be not only silent voters, but very smart voters and swing voters. So this vote, in terms of larger participation, larger number, could be claimed by both the alliance that it would be pro-incumbency or anti-incumbency, but the results would only show about it.
Certainly. So whether this silent revolution will have an impact and which way will this go is something that we will know on the 14th. But what could be the probable factors that could, underlying factors to be precise, that could drive this kind of higher turnout, and especially among women, is something that I'll come and understand from you, Mr. Singh. How much of it would you attribute to the ruling dispensation's socio-economic initiatives, and mostly focused towards empowering women? Because here, when we say empowering women, I come across the Jivika scheme that was launched by Nitish Kumar, and most importantly, the prohibition policy that became a hit among women of Bihar, and the impact also we've seen over the years. Could these be driving factors behind women being such turning out at the polling stations in such large numbers?
Of course, I entirely agree with you, because this has started in 2005 onwards. If since you are also from Bihar and I am also from Bihar, 2007 I was there to cover Nitish ji's yatra, and I was surprised to see that young students, female students, girls, school-going girls, they were using cycles in large number. So that was very evident. So the first sign of that was, it was direct manifestation of improved law and order. So when I saw that, I was also surprised. Apart from that, before 2005, if you go back to 2000 or 2004, it was difficult for any family member to walk safely in any part of Bihar after evening. So that fear had gone then. So that was one factor. The fear of law was there. There was an improved law and order situation, and apart from that, what had happened that this Jivika and then Nitish Kumar's effort to reserve this seats for women seats for this municipal bodies.
Right.
So that was another factor, and then his decision to reserve seats for women in police.
Correct me if I'm not wrong. I think it was Bihar that became the first state in India to reserve 33% seats for women.
Yeah, it happened in Bihar. And you know, you should also remember that Nitish ji was one who opposed the women reservation bill at the initial stage. So he changed his position after reaching Bihar, and he said that openly, that yes, I have changed it. So that empowerment was right there, and apart from that, Jivika and other factors, then this prohibition had played a very important role, because this social vagrancy with prohibition, it had gone. You will not see people in a drunken state roaming around the street. Although it's also said that liquor is available over there, but if prohibition is not implemented in the right spirit, that is a different issue. But reality is, at the social level, it has checked vagrancy, it has checked the crime against women. So it has checked so many things, so many ills. So all those factors have combined to encourage women to go out and vote. And since 2005 to 2000, now, if you see, there is a consistent increase in participation of women voters, and they have outvoted men.
Okay. So, in context of what Mr. Singh highlighted about the law and order situation and how, of course, there's been a huge transformation when we talk about that matter in 2025. Professor Chaudhary, I'll take a related question on that. About Bihar, it's said that historically the elections in Bihar revolve around caste alignments and social coalitions. Can we say that 2025 election results could perhaps be more about issues like development, issues like governance, mobility, migration, more and more employment opportunities, because there is also a significant number of voters which are first-time voters and who have voted in large numbers?
Yeah, I think that people usually say, mostly social scientists say that not only Bihar but across North India, here people do not cast their vote, they vote their caste. But I still believe that caste is not a monolithic category. Even if the Bihar has witnessed caste survey, the first state to conduct the caste survey, I mean, the elections in 2025, or maybe saying the election past preceding some elections, one could see that the caste and clan and primordial identities, I'm not saying they are dissipating, but I think they have started relegating to the background, and other issues of development and governance have come to the forefront. And one could see both the alliances, the India alliances and the NDA, their manifestos and their policy initiatives actually focus more in terms of development governance. And Bihar is different, and women in Bihar are different in this sense, because the central government policies and their initiatives in terms of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, getting toilets in every village, every household, or the Jan Dhan Yojana, Ayushman Bharat Yojana, and there are many other schemes actually which actually aimed at making women as empowered household beneficiaries in the state. And based on that, one could also say, as is rightly stated by Sansad, that even the law and order situation, the prohibition of liquor, and other pro-progressive, development-oriented, governance-driven, administrative-focused policies by the Nitish and the government have actually made women voters and every voters in Bihar actually the development-centric and governance-centric. From that perspective, I would see that 2025 would be different from the caste and the clan and the primordial identities. Could be at some point of time, one could see, but I think Bihar is a youth state, and where 58% population actually appear to be more moving towards from 18 to 28 and 30. So that youth state and youth electors, especially women voters, are moving themselves away from the caste and clan, and their focus is more on development and governance discourse.
Let's hope that when we are discussing the results on the 14th, it's not just the caste community and the social coalitions that we see driving the results, but also issues of education, of employment, of mobility and migration, which also influence the voting patterns and which in a way pave the way for the next government. What's remained constant, Mr. Singh, in Bihar is, of course, the transformation that we have seen over the last 2 decades, but it's been one man at the helm who's led this charge, and who's in more ways brought us to this conversation that we are talking about, that perhaps law and order is not as much of an issue as it used to be in the 1990s. 2 decades on, there is political fatigue. We see, of course, there is a huge anti-incumbency. A lot of people will also point out to that. But even then, we see Nitish Kumar not just staying relevant, staying in center stage of this political battle and managing to retain his political base. What is the ability that drives him to do so even now? And if the exit polls are to be believed, the JDU perhaps may get an edge over the BJP within the NDA also this time.
No, Nitish Kumar is one of those rare politicians whose life is very simple. I mean, if you look at it, you will probably compare it with Patnaik in Odisha. Naveen Patnaik has that kind of life. He doesn't have his family. I mean, he has never promoted his family. So his simplicity, and since 2010 or even 15, you will find that he was always focused on his administration. So here was a man who charted a different course as compared to the past in Bihar. So, he was a selfless and he was regarded as selfless. Now, what you see right now, although this 5 years back, that was not the situation. There was anti-incumbency factor, political fatigue was also there. But this time, Nitish has earned some kind of sympathy because of certain speculations about his health.
Maybe this is his last election.
And everybody knows that this is his last election. So, I mean, these are all speculation, but there are so many sympathy which socially he has been able to channelize. His image is such that now people of Bihar want to, if they at all they want to I mean reinstate him. So, that could be because of his track record and the desire of the Bihar people to maintain continuity. I mean, they do not want to disrupt the process right now. So, that could be the reason if at all it happens. I am not sure.
Let's see whether that continuity is maintained. The results are tomorrow. But the other aspect, Professor Chaudhary, that I would like to discuss with you is the third entrant. After decades, we are seeing a third entrant who's making just the right noises. He's appealed to the young voters. In fact, a lot of young voters have also sort of sided with him because he is speaking about their issues. He is talking about an alternative which is not NDA, not Mahagathbandhan, but a third alternative. And he addresses the voters of the 1990s, the youth, talking about their issues, about education, about migration, about employment within their home state. Although the exit polls are giving little space to the new entrant, the Jan Suraaj Party, how much of an impact do you see Prashant Kishore, because he is a political strategist, given his experience of having worked with all of these political parties, how much of an impact do you see him making in Bihar?
So, I consider Prashant Kishore ji not X factor but J factor. This Jan Suraaj initiative, I think it has just begun. Hardly 1 year has passed. One of the most critical challenges for Jan Suraaj happened to be that the party doesn't have a strong organization. And you see, in electoral politics, without a strong organization, you cannot contest huge elections. Secondly, since Prashant Kishore initially wanted to contest elections but didn't contest elections as election, and even he doesn't come out with the manifesto. So he's a good orator, getting good, massive appeal among the young voters. But I fail to find out whether that it's going to channelize these support in rallies in terms of votes or seats. It is difficult to be stated at this point. But I think these two initiatives, one could be seeing some comparison. One was when the similar initiative was taken by Shri Yogendra Yadav ji in Delhi and other parts of the country, and both are psephologists. Yogendra Yadav ji and Prashant Kishore ji, both are good psephologists. They can know how to win elections, but once they themselves contest elections without strong organization, without strong party followers, contestants, money, vision and mission, I don't think that you can you can contest the elections, but it is difficult to just win the elections. One of the most important priorities for Jan Suraaj at this stage would be just getting 6% of the votes and 2 MLA so that it can get a recognition for a state party. That may make it driving for a next or subsequent assembly elections or the elections. I think from that ground, Jan Suraaj is thinking into that directions.
Okay, Mr. Singh, I'll take one last question. Time allows us to now take up only that much on the program. But before we wind up, it's our home state, and we of course want the elections to be driven not just by caste, but all of these factors on development, and perhaps talking about caste should remain a distant reality. That's our hope. Every election gives out a message from people which is beyond numbers, which is beyond who wins or loses. This election, the most striking thing has been the high voter turnout, particularly the women outnumbering the men. In your context, what is the message that you interpret in terms of the democratic maturity which is reflective of Bihar society, which is said to be the most politically awakened society in India?
You know, this caste has always been overemphasized in the context of Bihar, Whereas, if you look at it from other states, caste is equally important there. In Gujarat, caste is important. In other parts, of course, Delhi it is not. But in other parts also, caste is important. But Bihar has defied that description so many times. George Fernandez used to win from upper caste dominated constituency and backward dominated constituency, both the constituencies. So, you cannot say that Bihar is the only state where caste is the only dominant factor. So, I mean, right from 2005 to other elections, if you look at the past, Bihar has been sending a message very loud and clear that they want development, they want stability. In the context of Prashant Kishore, I would like to say that he is making all the right noises. He is making all the right noises. The only problem is that his past role, I mean his past association with BJP, Nitish Kumar, then RJD. So, that is a kind of thing which will keep on people's mind, ki, where is he, where does he stand? So, that would be a problem for him.
He is not contesting himself.
Yeah, he is not. So, although I mean for 4 decades, I think Bihar has never had this elected MLAs as chief minister. Lalu had never contested and Nitish had never contested. So, Lalu ji, Nitish ji both had never contested. They were always from upper house. I think so. So far as I could recall. So, that would not be the impediment. The impediment would be his ideological position. But apart from that, he is making all the right noises. He is trying very hard to make inroad in an area where social segments are already aligned on those lines.
Yes.
So, that is a very different route which he has taken. So, of course, I mean,
so let's see what his performance is going to be. It's his debut election in Bihar, but let's hope that issue-based politics is what wins in the state, and whoever forms the government gives only development the topmost priority. With that hope, we'll have to wrap up this conversation. Thank you once again, Mr. Singh and Professor Chaudhary, for joining us for this insightful conversation. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Perspective. Thank you very much to you viewers for your time as well.
संसद टीवी के और भी प्रोग्राम्स देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें हमारा YouTube चैनल और हाँ, इन्हें लाइक और शेयर करना ना भूलें।